Good morning to all of you. Dewa 539 Chop Money is always available for you. 10 a.m. the draw is undertaken, and make sure that you're part of the bonanza. And then another bonanza is to make sure that you're part of cash out. And this morning, before the segment ends, we'll bring you the draw. And quickly, let's just get to the matters. And for cash out, I always encourage you, as you look at Dewa 539 Chop Money at star 446. We also encourage you to memorize cash out star 439. The most important thing is all of you are very savvy with the way you tend to do the stakes on your phones. Now, I want to say good morning to Alfred Dodu and Ras Kotoka, Money Ni Money, Amuda Hamidu, who is a regular watcher from the United States of America, William Beche. I also have engineer as well as a number of you individuals who tend to watch us. We're grateful for all the things. Please, we encourage you to share. And today we're talking about now that we have the injunction not granted yet by the court, the Supreme Court itself, following the parties, of course, submitting to the court based on that petition for that injunction for the stalling, in the meantime, by the Electoral Commission to undertake that limited voter registration. How do the parties whip up all the sentiments and then the education in the various communities for the limited registration exercise to be undertaken? Now, that also will mean that a number of work would have to be undertaken by all stakeholders. For us to help us do the discussion, we've invited some key personalities within the political and governance space. I have here with me Deputy Minister of Energy, currently the Member of Parliament for Sekondi, also is a legal practitioner, a lawyer by profession. And I have Andrew Ejapa-Mensah right here. It's been a while he's been here. I'm grateful. Good morning to you. How are you, sir?
Pleasure to be here.
Well, great.
I'm well. Yourself?
Great. I'm well.
Good morning to my colleague and all your cherished viewers this morning.
Thank you very much.
Especially those listening or watching us from Sekondi, my constituency. Yeah.
And then also the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central is right here. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed used to be a former Deputy Minister of Trade. Before then was one of the lead coordinators nationally for the National Youth Employment Agency then, I believe, or
National Youth
Employment Agency. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Alhamdulillah.
And before we stream into the conversation, we also know that there are key indicators we need to benchmark ourselves with, because the Electoral Commission has been criticized for undertaking or deciding to undertake this exercise, and Andrew Ejapa, in only offices of the Electoral Commission in key districts. It also has brought to the fore the argument that a lot of people will not be granted access. What do you say to that, Andrew Ejapa?
Well, good morning once again, and thank you very much for inviting me to your studio. I believe that even before we go into the EC discourse, over the weekend, a major milestone was achieved by way of the increase in the producer price of cocoa for our farmers, and I think that's a commendable initiative that ought to be celebrated. His Excellency the President's government has increased cocoa price by highest in 50 years, clearly changing the paradigm of how the pricing itself is done, where in the past people were paid net of costs that Cocoa Board incurred before the producer price was determined. This time around it's been moved to a gross mechanism where the farmers are actually paid before Cocoa Board's cost is then, applied in terms of what it is that they get. That clearly is worthy of celebration. Farmers all across the country are excited, and I think that is something that we need to commend the government for the innovation that it has brought into the space, giving more money to the cocoa farmer, and it's something that we ought to commend His Excellency the President and his government for doing. And I believe that our brothers who are farmers would be encouraged to apply themselves more to produce more cocoa for the benefit of our country and themselves. Of course, I really do not know why we are belaboring the point with respect to the EC's decision.
You think it's belaboring the point?
Because it's not new. Okay, you check the history, and you will see that as recent as June 2019, EC conducted limited voter registration for purposes of the local government elections between June 7th and 21st of 2019.
And
if they are applying the same principle today, is that not? And there's a lot of complaint. Really, what is that to achieve? And I hear people suggesting that it's an attempt by the EC to aid and facilitate some electoral rigging in 2024, as if to say that the count at the polling station, which really determines the outcome of the elections, is irrelevant. Okay, as a political party, wet your salt. It is important that you deploy resources to mobilize your supporters to go out there and vote. And that's exactly what we have been doing, both sides. Okay, and I'm not sure it's only that one time. Yesterday night, unfortunately, I couldn't complete all my research before your program. But clearly, if there's precedent, even if it's only one, I don't really see why we ought to even expend time in going to court to try and stop the Electoral Commission from conducting their constitutional duty. Are we serious?
When people could be disenfranchised in the process.
How are people going to be disenfranchised? What's the basis of that assertion? Yes, you can advocate that, look, because some communities are further away from the offices, can you deploy additional resources to deal specifically with those communities? That would be a fair position to take. But to say that no, across the country, why? Do it at every polling station? Is that a suggestion? When, if you look at the data, really limited registration exercises of this nature does not, in itself, is not a major registration, if you like, where they then go out to every polling station to conduct the poll. And so I think that we should stop, creating issue where really there's none. Okay, yes, like I said, maybe in the island communities and other places, and indeed in 2019, beyond the district offices, EC deployed some registration material into some communities that were clearly identified to be problematic in terms of people's having access to the district offices. So if that position is not being applied today, let's advocate for that to be included so that we can have an exercise that is, satisfactory, as opposed to the red herring that is being raised and thrown out there as if to say EC is doing something out of the ordinary, when in fact, this is not the first time that they are doing limited registration in their district offices. I don't see it. And so, please, mobilize your supporters. Let's urge the Ghanaian people who are qualified to register. Political parties, resource your local officers, your agents. You do it all the time. This is no different. Let's go out there and mobilize our people and let them go and get their names into the electoral register. Hopefully, going forward, when the LI is passed, or the CI, which makes the Ghana card the sole identity document for registration, I expect that many of these things would, would take care of itself. Absolutely. And then we will not be haggling over matters such as limited registration and extending it to suggest that somebody is intended to rig elections. We all know what will happen in 2024.
Integral to
battle
this.
it out.
Integral to this.
Forcefully.
You go to section 30
decide.
of CI 91, and we can put that on the screen for our own review. You take a look at it. It says, ideally, the Electoral Commission was expected to at least annually revise the register of voters annually. Now, Ibrahim Mutala, we haven't seen that since 2020. Of course, 2020 was when we undertook the major compilation of the voters register. And then the argument also being posited also means that we could realistically have people further away and admittedly from the registration centers not having access, taking decisions just because it will inconvenience them to go and register.
Well, good morning, and good morning to my brother, and good morning to your viewing public, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. I mean, the hypocrisy of the NDC and the NPP and the inconsistency and unprincipled position that they have taken is legendary. As a matter of fact, before I come to that, he's saying that we should praise the president for increasing the prices of cocoa for cocoa farmers. Yes, I'm happy for the cocoa farmers. I have had the privileged opportunity to have served on the cocoa board as the then Deputy Minister for Trade and Industries. But isn't this interesting? That after you sold fertilizers that were meant to be given to them free, imported by President Mahama, and these fertilizers were distributed to the cocoa farmers free, and in fact, it was written boldly on the fertilizers, strictly not for sale. Shamelessly, you sold these fertilizers to the very farmers that you are now increasing fertilizer prices, and you are saying that we should clap for you. Perhaps let's join hands in giving him a faint clap for doing what they ought to have done in the past. Again, we haven't had an incident in this country where cocoa farmers would sell their cocoa farms for the purposes of galamsey. We all saw the video. It tells you how terribly you guys run the cocoa sector and the entirety of the agri sector, which is growing in negative. You sit here and then you expect us to praise you. Well, we'll give you a faint praise. The MPP behave like the lizard. You know, when the lizard walks, it to stop and do the head this way. When we're growing up as kids in Tamale, they will tell you that the lizard says that if you won't praise me, I'll praise myself. The cocoa farmers know how you have run the cocoa industry. Cocoa rules have come to a standstill, and it is very clear because of how you mismanage the sector. So we may give you some claps. Now you see, the hypocrisy and the inconsistency of the MPP is legendary. Look, I listened to an MPP spokesperson, I guess either the deputy secretary, one of the national executive officers, when the NDC raised issues with the belligerent position of the Electoral Commission, after IPAC met and this issue was raised to have this limited registration at only EC district offices, all the political parties at that meeting, without exception, mind you, the NDC was not present. All the political parties, including MPP, all told Jean Mensa and the EC that they were not going to accept that proposal to have the registration done at only EC district offices, and that it was going to disenfranchise many prospective, if you like, registered voters in this country. The EC, including the NPP. And I remember when a gentleman who was representing one of the opposition parties, they called the MPP National Executive, and he confirmed, on Joy FM specifically, yes, they all kicked against the decision. And then the EC, without even coming back to tell them, only held a press conference, and Jean Mensa arrogantly announced that they were going to have this registration done only at the district offices. Today, they are now kicking against the very position they agreed with the other political parties at the IPAC meeting. If this is not hypocrisy and inconsistency and lack of principle on the part of the MPP, tell me what it is. So clearly, I am baffled. And in fact, when I listened to the interview of that gentleman, I said, these people, you can't trust them. Because as at that time, I told a friend that the MPP knew every single decision that was taken by Jean Mensa, who is an active member of the NPP, and she has never hidden her activeness within the MPP politics. And she takes no decision except a decision that is dictated by the Flagstaff House. So what is your position now? Why did you agree with the other opposition parties that the registration be done only at the, if you like, various polling stations and not EC district offices? And today, you turn around 360 degrees and you are saying that what EC is engaged in is perfect. My brother is making reference to the limited registration that was done in 2019. And he himself admits, for the purposes of the district assembly elections, we all know in this country that people give much attention, rather sadly, to only elections when it comes to registration than the district assembly election. But in any case, let's agree that whether district assembly elections or general elections, we have experienced this in 2009. At what cost? In any case, there were several people who indeed granted interviews and said that they did not have the opportunity to register. Many people. And I remember in Tamale, the chaotic nature of the registration at the district offices and the deliberate attempt and actions of the Electoral Commission to send malfunctioning, if you like, machines to some of the areas that were deemed not to be MPP stronghold. We all witnessed what happened in 2019. Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution is very clear. And if you permit me, the article is very clear on the basis of how people and let me guess, that every person shall be entitled to his, okay, no, let me, Article 42, that every citizen of Ghana of 18 years of age or above and of sound mind has the right to vote and is entitled to register as a voter for the purposes of public elections and referenda. Everybody is entitled to. The only body clothed with the authority to ensure that this constitutional obligation is met is the Electoral Commission and those who will participate in the process of having their names registered. Now, why should people be denied the opportunity to participate in an electoral process because of financial constraints in this country? And it is sad that many of our colleagues from the MPP, they use their standpoints as a measure to determine what happens everywhere in this country.
Meaning what?
I'll tell you
what do you mean by their standpoints?
Certain people would have to move from one place to another, 50 kilometers or more to be able to register. And can people walk from their places? People who do not even have food to eat because of how terribly you have run the economy of this country. How will those people go and register? It means that some of them will spend about 100 Ghana or 200 Ghana cedis to take transportation in and out so that they can participate in this electoral process. Something that the Electoral Commission is obligated by the Constitution.
You did hear what Mr. Japa did say. He says that if you take a certain map out geographically or you look at the demarcation of some of the constituency or most constituencies, you wouldn't say that there's going to be a lack of access because of distance. But there are peripheral constituencies that you have to take itemized look at.
Who said?
And so the advocacy.
Who said?
Well, he just itemized that. And I'm saying, is that not a better advocacy to undertake? That there are some key constituencies, rather, that you can map out and say, these are where you need peculiar eyes of the Electoral Commission to undertake.
What better advocacy? Even of, I was telling him, that those of us who live within cities, our constituency, my constituency is within Tamale Central. The challenge that the people are going to be encountered with is not only one. It is not just about the distance, but the chaotic nature of what happened in 2019 when the Electoral Commission decided to have the registration in those districts. But in any case, look at other districts. We have more rural constituencies than city constituencies in this country. More rural constituencies. I'll use one constituency, for example. Take Miang constituency. Part of Miang constituency is in around Bimbila. Now, they are obligated to come to the Miang district to participate in the electoral process. How are they going to move? I have had the privileged opportunity to have been a rural MP before. Take Nantong constituency, for example. And if you care to know about some of those areas, you may not even know the names. You take a distance. There's a particular distance that takes several kilometers. How are those people who are there, who want to register? They must come to the Nantong district to be able to participate in the electoral process. In any case, we have 275 constituencies. The EC is talking about 267.
Centers.
267. They used to be 265. Now 267. When we have 275 constituencies. So it means that there are certain constituencies that you may have two constituencies participating in the registration at one particular place. I'm saying that it's completely unreasonable. So the Electoral Commission is violating the Constitution and is deliberately doing it to disenfranchise a lot of people. So that is why when he said that he doesn't understand why people are talking about financial, limitations as to people participating in it. Because he has the luxury, he can drive, he can move his people from one area to another. There are people who have to move several kilometers. Are they going to walk? Are they going to ride horses to be able to participate in the electoral process?
There's also a key question about all these constituency areas geographically that you name also would have MPP members. So it's not as if it's peculiar.
The issue is not just about MPP NDC. It is about principle. It's just that their principals have taken sabbatical leave, and we urging them to return home.
Yeah, principals have taken
sabbatical leave. They have vacated. You see, I have had conversations with MPP members of parliament, at least some members of parliament, and I can tell you on authority that they are concerned. But you see, it's like zombies. The party says, follow this direction, they follow the direction. Now, when he said that he doesn't even understand where this argument of financial limitations and others are coming from, if he has proper understanding of the demarcation of constituencies in this country, taking into consideration that we have more rural constituencies than we have constituencies in the cities and bigger towns. Even in some of the towns, people would have to move distances to be able to participate in the elections. And again, the chaotic nature of what happened in 2019. And it's going to exert more pressure on us as members of parliament. They may have the luxury, for all you know, their party has monies that they will give to their members of parliament to mobilize people to come. And he talks about mobilizing our people to come as if mobilizing is just getting a microphone and asking people to come. You would have to transport people to come and register. So it is a deliberate attempt to deny people that constitutional right. And this denial is being spearheaded by Jean Mensa. And the arrogance that is demonstrated by this woman is just unacceptable. That all the political parties, and I want him to answer this question. Why did the MPP take a principled position with all the political parties disagreeing with the proposal of the Electoral Commission to have this registration done at only their district offices? In less than 1 week, they have turned around to say that it is fine. The Electoral Commission can go ahead to do that in the name of we mobilizing people to go and participate in the registration process.
Look, if we all by principle say it is important that everybody needs to be on the register once they attain the age of 18 within a particular period, where we've not had registration undertaken in 2021, 2022, be it limited registration exercise or not, even the ruling party, the MPP, should be interested. Is that not the case? Because access and registration to ensure that you undertake your enfranchisement is granted by the Constitution. Your party also should be interested.
No, I agree.
In what way do you agree?
Oh, I agree.
Because it's at variance with your position, really.
Avenue should be made, you know, as accessible as possible for everybody who intends to put their name on the register to be able to do so. I don't have any issues with that at all.
So one center is enough?
Look, we have had instances, in fact, going through online publications. 2014, same district level limited registration took place in this country.
And you opposed it.
In 2019, same limited registration exercise at district level took place. And so how is that, how are those instances different from what is happening today? I'm saying that yes, it's practical to see that some districts, there may be challenges, and it's okay to advocate for some additional, if you like, tools to be made available for those districts where there are real challenges to enable people who intend to participate. I don't have any difficulty at all. But you see, he says we opposed it. At the time, they were in government, and they supported it.
No, that's
Hey, please. You didn't say so.
Let him say this.
But you were in government, it was okay. And you were principled then. But today, your principles have changed. And you have the audacity to call somebody unprincipled. Your flag bearer, only 5 days ago, is urging people to participate in a limited registration exercise.
So what's wrong with that?
I don't have a difficulty. Why are you sitting here throwing, if you like, tantrums?
What do you mean by that?
You're asking me.
When he says...
Please go ahead.
I don't get it. Look, I agree that real challenges may occasion some locations in Ghana. Fair. So how do we go about dealing with those situations? I'm happy to have that conversation. And look, I haven't heard NPP officially indicate that they are opposed. Look, when you were going to your court, I didn't see MPP.
I say on Joy FM the very day
so
the EC held the press
MPP's
conference.
official position.
Please,
MPP's official position is outlined on Joy FM.
No, your executive.
Please.
Okay? When you were going to court
let
to
him
seek your injunction, I didn't see NPP as a party.
But it's
to your court
logical
action.
because MPP is not party to
why
the
is it
suit.
logical? But if
They are not party to the
MPP objected to limited registration, would it not make sense that if people are going to court to advocate for an injunction to be placed on the limited registration, for it to be made, what you call at every polling station, MPP will be part of it? So what are we saying? I'm saying to you that there's precedent. In 2019, at least the record indicates that beyond the district offices, EC deployed some registration tools and personnel to attend to specific locations which were island communities. If they are doing the same now, of course, then really the complaint does not arise at all. If they are not doing so now, then by all means, let's advocate for those additional measures to be put in place to capture our brothers and sisters who would be in those locations so that they can also participate in the electoral process. Okay? But to suggest that don't do it and that do it in every polling station when in fact over the past 3 or 4 or so local level elections, EC actually conducts limited registration at district levels. Really, it's neither here nor there. Indeed,
so
the centers that he makes reference to, I'm not surprised that we do not have as many centers as constituencies.
you are not?
No, because my constituency is a metropolitan area. And so there are 3 constituencies
It collapses
in the
into
district.
Okay.
But what the EC does is to hold one in the, what you call it?
The district center.
Metro offices, sub-metro offices in the metropolis. I'm sure that that's exactly what's going to happen in Tamale as well, where your constituencies are in the metropolitan area. And so really, Mutala, let's make progress, okay?
What progress?
Let's all rally, call on the Ghanaian who are 18 years old, those who were unable to put their name on the register in the past, who desire to participate, to go out there and put their names on. We all need them to register. Ghana's democracy thrives when people participate in the process. And let's encourage people to spend time. Yes, it may be a little bit more onerous than if you were being organized in all the 40 or so or 1,000 police stations across the country.
Okay.
And so
Mr.
let's
Mensah,
urge people to
Mr.
go
Mensah,
out there and put their names on the register.
I've been to certain areas. For example, when you are approaching the Misiga border, which is closer to Boko, for example, and it's several kilometers away from the Burkina Faso boundary, and we still have Ghanaians living from that point to the border area. It is true, Ghanaians there need to be registered. They have to trek several kilometers into Boko to be able to register. And there are several sparsely populated
You mean Ghanaians
areas.
living in Burkina Faso?
No,
Not
you said that
Burkina Faso.
border
I say
town.
before you make entry or closer to the border point. Now, because it's not populated like the way you have in Elobo or you have in Aflao or many of those areas, it also means that those people could also not be given access or would take decisions because they don't have the access or the means. These are key considerations
So
for which,
these, of course, they fall within the exception. No, I don't have a problem.
for which, if we are making a decision, it should encompass the whole country.
How so?
You don't pick and choose, do you?
Because, well, if I use my constituency, if I use Takrady constituency, if I use Ifia constituency, the EC office is not far away from where everybody resides, okay? I can take practically an hour to go through my entire constituency. And I recognize that in other places, that is not the case. And so if it's okay to limit it in Second D, what are you saying? That because of that, they should open 89 electoral registration centers for people to then walk leisurely to go and
If not,
register.
you could open more than
no,
one.
I agree. So that's what I'm saying. That, but of course, if you go to the district office, it's not one registration center that is there. There are, at least if my recollection is right, in 2019, there were 3 or so or 4 desks that were registering people at the center. So the fact that they have one center doesn't mean they have one equipment sitting there capturing the data of everybody. But yes, I agree, as I've indicated before, that there may be other communities that some extra measure ought to be taken to accommodate those instances. And so that's an advocacy that I will support. That look, there are 20 or so constituencies in Ghana or districts in Ghana.
What 20?
I'm only citing this as an example. Whatever. That because of the distance from the EC district office or the local authority, and where majority of the people reside, at least create one more center there. I don't have any difficulty in making that advocacy. But to say that open 40,000 polling stations for registrations, I think we'll be stretching it.
Roland,
for a limited registration exercise.
I think
first and foremost.
I think what Mr. Japa brings to the table today is at variance, and it's actually an improvement on what the communication has been from key spokespeople of the party as well. That also means that we can have more than one center, but not replicate a center.
It's just because in the heart of his heart he knows that the EC is engaged in something that is completely impossible.
You reside in my heart to know what is in my heart of heart.
That's how I think. I allowed you to speak. In the first place, he said that he is not aware the MPP was against this move. I have just told you, the very day Jean Mensa held that very reckless and irresponsible press conference and insisted that they were going to have the registration done only at district offices. That was the day Joy FM, and I'm making a reference to the media house that interviewed the opposition to this. There was a spokesperson of the political parties, and they called an NPP National Executive Officer. I'm not too sure whether it was the Deputy Secretary, but a National Executive Officer who represented the NPP and said that they all supported the decision of the minority opposition political parties, and that they pointed out to the EC that having the registration limited to only district offices was going to create problems. So it was opposition. Now, as to why I think that you expressed surprise that if the MPP was against the decision to have the registration done only at district offices, why is the MPP not joining the other political parties in the suit? It tells you how unprincipled you guys are. And I go and check at Joy. That's why I made reference. The very day the press conference was held, and I have mentioned this specifically, the media house, Joy FM. So you guys are absolutely unprincipled, and you have demonstrated the consistency in being unprincipled. That's why maybe you are not listening. I said that your principals have taken a sabbatical leave. You should ask them that the semester has begun, so they should come back. Until they come back, you'll be wondering why you are taking this unprincipled position and your consistency of that unprincipled stance you have taken over the years. And again, now he is telling me that, oh, if the need be for us to have the registration done at certain polling stations because of the distances. And also, in fact, before I even come to that, he said we experienced this in 2019 when we had limited registration for the purposes of district assembly elections. 2014, it was the same thing. Every general elections, whenever we're having limited registration, it has never been done only at the district offices. If there is any evidence, provide it. All the two incidences that he mentioned were for the purposes of the district assembly elections. Any general elections we are doing, we always have this at the various polling stations and not district electoral offices. And in any case, is our democracy not evolving? The fact that we have tried this, assuming without admitting that the two incidences that he mentioned, the registrations were, the limited registrations were done for the purposes of even general elections. And there were teething challenges. There were concerns that people raised. As a democracy that is evolving, nurturing, and growing, we need to be improving, not retrogressing. So if people raise concerns, and for the purposes of meeting this constitutional obligation, as stated in Article 42 of the 1990 Constitution, which the EC is the only body clothed with the authority to ensure that people indeed participate in the electoral processes, why is she taking that particular position? And again, even within Accra, take Medina Abokobi, where the district EC offices, and take Medina constituency. People would have to pay a lot of money. Minimum they can pay will be about 30, 40 cedis to and fro to be able to participate in the electoral processes. That is within Accra. That is within Accra. Take a constituency like Ayawaso West Wagon. People would have to pay money. Now, and that's why I said earlier, they use their position as a measure to determine how everybody should behave. The fact that you have the means doesn't mean that everybody in Ghana has the means. There are some people who are struggling to even get 1 meal a day. Such people must not be denied the opportunity to register and participate in the electoral processes because they don't have the means.
This needless populism is not going to help the district.
Well, can I finish? I listen to you.
But you finish.
Why? You see the moderator now. You need to be telling me.
For me.
You see, the people who are watching, who have woken up this morning without even having any meal, they'll be very angry at you. They'll be very, very angry. Some are struggling to even get cocoa to drink in Accra here. Then you say it's needless and populism. I will speak for those who do not have.
You spoke for them in 2014?
You are here to speak. Please.
Did you speak for them in 2014?
2014,
right.
it was
When you were in government.
Okay.
It was not general elections.
Hold your fire, hold your fire.
It was not
I have on the line.
It's limited registration for local government elections.
I have on the line
Exactly the same
the Deputy
principle.
Chair for
What are we
Corporate
talking about?
Services, Dr. Bossman Asare. Dr. Bossman Asare, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Walker, and good morning to your panelists.
Good morning. Why is the EC adamant to create enough access registration centers for ordinary Ghanaians instead of saying that for each district we should have one and, of course, 2 additional ones as well?
Mr. Walker, thank you once again. Mr. Walker, let me, before I go on to this particular question, let me also let me make a point clear that Mr. Muntaka, Honorable Muntaka, made an allegation against the chairperson of the electoral.
First and foremost, Prof, you have been my lecturer. My name is not.
That is not true.
You have been my lecturer. My name is not Mutaka.
That should be well stated.
My name is not Mutaka.
Mr. Muntaka is a member of the MPP.
It's Mutala.
So I think that should be made
Let
clear.
him finish.
Mr. Walker, to the substantive issue. I think the Electoral Commission had a meeting with the parties and we informed all the parties that because of the time constraints and also the abuse associated with the guarantor system, and for us to be able to have the district level elections on December 19th, it will be appropriate to have the registration at the district offices of the Electoral Commission. So we made that explanation very well to the parties. So that's why we are doing what we are doing.
Now, can you restate that again so that everybody will get a certain clarity? You agreed with the part.
We have a meeting with the political parties under the auspices of IPAC. And we explained to them that because of the time constraints, since last year, Mr. Walker, we've been working on a new CI, which will require that anyone who wants to register as a voter will appear at the registration office with his or her Ghana card. But we were not able to achieve that particular objective. So we have to resort to the usage of our old CI or our current CI. And under the current CI, it allows for the use of the guarantor system. And one of our investigations on the basis of the 2020 registration exercise and even the report by some observers indicated that the guarantor system has been abused. So the Commission, because of time constraints and also in our ability to strengthen the integrity of the register, we decided that the registration must take place at the district offices of the Electoral Commission for 21 days, including weekends. We concede, and we know that some places are very far away from the district offices of the Electoral Commission. And these places are scattered in all parts of the country. You go to Eastern region, in the Afan Plains area, you go to Upper West, they are scattered in Asante, in Greater Accra, in every part of our country. And when we did the analysis, we noticed that about 80% of all the districts, we wouldn't be having problems with distance and other associated challenges. But for the very few, we are going to have challenges. But what the Electoral Commission is saying is that we concede that this is a problem. But we have 21 days. And we think that as a civic responsibility, since all of us are interested in the strengthening of our democracy, people should take this particular advantage, and within the 21 days, including the weekends, they should be able to go to our offices and register. And in the worst case scenario, if they are not able to do it, in 2024, we are going to have it extended for over 7 months. The registration will be a continuous one for 6-7 months in our district offices. So we expect that people should take advantage of this one so that they take part in the district level election. But if they are not, next year the Commission is going to do it ahead of the 2024 election. Thank you very much.
Now, please don't go, please. Dr. Bossman Asare.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. When you were at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, I remember I was one of the few journalists who would speak to you consistently, and because of that, we developed a relationship. And you will constantly criticize within the space of governance and transparency why access is important. Why is it that now you are a deputy chair of the commission, you don't take cognizance of the fact that irrespective of the timeline, whether it's 7 months for the next year that you're promising, or the 21 days that you're promising this time, key factors or indicators like not having access to funding or monetary funds for transport, 2, distance, and then the inability of individuals who either are convalescing or are physically challenged, etc., could lead to them taking the decision not to be able to get to these centers to register. Why a shift in that position, Dr. Bossman Asare?
Let me state this. The Electoral Commission currently on our register with the role, we have a little over 17 million and 27,000 people registered. So currently what we are doing is we are doing an update. We are updating the register. So nationwide, based on our estimates, we are looking at a figure of 1,350,000. And since registration, voting is not compulsory in Ghana, and we believe a number of these people might have traveled, some might have moved on in other ventures, even outside the country. So the commission is looking at a figure of about 800,000 registered. And Mr. Walker, we are looking at 268 locations for the registration. And as I said initially, we are not denying the fact that some places are very far. But what we are basically saying is that the time and to ensure the integrity, which I think, Mr. Walker, is very, very much important to ensure the integrity of the register, the commission, as the practitioner and those who are in charge of the system, recognizes that to deepen the integrity of our register of voters, we need to have it at our district offices. And when you look at the numbers, the number of district offices we have, Mr. Walker, you look at it, you divide the number of district offices by the estimated 800,000 or so we want to register. You realize that for every district, the number may not even be up to about 2,500, 3,000 thereabouts. But this is something that can be done. And let me also state for the education of the general public that this is not the first time we are registering at the district level. In 1996, the Electoral Commission did that. And even as recent as 2020, whilst we were doing the registration at the polling stations, we also had a system in place where the elderly, the physically challenged, and other vulnerable persons came to our district offices and they registered. So this is not the first time. But as I said initially, the commission has explained to the parties that because of the time at our disposal, you know, Mr. Walker, one thing is that 60 days to an election, you can't register people to vote. So if the commission decides that we have to move from one place to another, and knowing also that people turn 18 every day, by the time you move from their area, they have turned 18, so it will be very difficult for them.
Dr.
So to avoid all these distractions, the commission is
Dr. Bossman Asare,
have to do it.
You haven't answered my question on the shift in your position as a governance and transparency expert who has now turned an arbiter or convener of Ghana's elections. 2, based on your own responses, you seem as an electoral commission to be now deciding for Ghanaians the average numbers who would be on our electoral roll. And so you have reduced the estimated, based on your own figures, 1.35. And we're talking 1.35 million people, 1,350,000 people in excess, to 800,000 being your target. If that is the case, is that not the reason why it is 60 days to the district level election? That is why you need to replicate the centers for you to be able to capture more people, because the time span to the district level election is short. So that also even next year, as you have enumerated, more people will turn 18 every day. So that we don't tend to have the backlog and the pressure that we experience on election years. 3, the last time we convened a general, that's a holistic registration, the executive, through an executive instrument, decided to close the borders because we claim it was a period of COVID. And we know Ghanaians are outside our borders. How do you respond to all these? Dr. Bossman Asare.
Mr. Walker, let me state again. if there is any institution that is committed to ensuring that all eligible Ghanaians register to vote, that will be the Electoral Commission. Let me give you this information. In the whole of West Africa, with the exception of Ghana and Cape Verde, where we have almost 55% of all the population on the voters' roll, you go to Nigeria, you go to all these countries around us, none of them is even doing 45%. And when you look at what we've achieved in Ghana, in 2020, within 38 days, we were able to register 17 million people. And what the Electoral Commission is saying is that registration at the district level will achieve our objective of ensuring a very credible register. And Mr. Walker, the EC is an institution of the state. We are funded by the taxpayer. We roll this out. If there are challenges, we'll go back to the drawing board. But currently, the discussions and the analysis we've done, we are very much convinced that Ghanaians who want to register and take part in the district level elections this year, and those who also want to register in 2024 and they are already 18, they will come in their numbers to come and register. But if we receive information contrary to that, the EC will go back to the drawing board. We are there for the good people of this country. But currently, on the basis of the evidence we have, we are convinced that registering at the district level will ensure the integrity of our register, and Ghanaians will also come up in their numbers. Nevertheless, we do acknowledge that there are certain few places where distance is a problem, and we are working with our district offices to ensure that for those places, when the people come and they are coming to register, it will not be like they are going to be in the queue, or it will take some time, it will not get to their turn. So all these things are going to be addressed. And since you are a senior media person, I know a week by this time or in the course of the week, you will call me again to give me why you think that the response I gave you were very appropriate. So we are committed to ensuring that every qualified Ghanaian gets onto the roll.
Last one, you seem to have prepared your own script for this sort of communication. So I think it helps the Electoral Commission, and then only doesn't help the ordinary Ghanaian. What do you mean by it helps in ensuring the integrity of the voters' roll or register? What do you mean by that, if you do it at only a center within a district?
You know, our current law allows the use of the guarantor system. So this is a situation where, Mr. Walker, you and I, because we are already registered voters, assuming you are, as I am, what it means is that we can send anyone there and we can guarantee for the person. But based on the work we did in 2020, even 2019, ahead of the district level election, and discussions we've had with observer missions, especially the EU and other related bodies, it came out that this is something that has been abused. And we are the Electoral Commission, we know. So what we are basically saying is that by registering at the district, it will be very difficult for people to go and vouch for people they don't even know. And people, they know their ages are not correct, but they are still trying to vouch for them. And we think this is something in the interest of both...
Dr. Boss-Manassari. Dr. Boss-Manassari.
And the Honorable Muntaka.
Dr. Boss-Manassari. Please, the name is...
Yes.
Mutala. No, it's okay, please. Now, the guarantor system, and I have guaranteed for individuals close to me or within my family circles or within my circles in getting them a Ghana card in the past. Now, the National Identification Authority didn't think that the guarantor system in acquiring a Ghana card was subject to abuse. But for the Electoral Commission that wants to use the same card in the future, in its current registration exercise, seem to have a conclusion made that the guarantor system is abused?
Mr. Walker,
yes,
I think your panel, both your panelists are members of Parliament, Honorable Ejapamesa, Honorable Muntaka. They know it very well. The Ghana card guaranteeing process is so different from that of the Electoral Commission. With the Ghana card, there is a commissioner of oath. So that process is, which is legally binding. Ours is not like that. So because it's not like that, people get away with it. And as I stated earlier, it is in the interest of Mr. Walker, myself, your panelists, for us to have a system that is very, very robust.
Okay.
A system that is very, very scientific. And that's what the UC is doing. And we believe that by doing it at the district offices, it will discourage people who are not legitimate, those who don't qualify to even be there. And we are open. As I said, we are open to ensuring that everybody registers. When we begin and there is a problem, Commission will go to the drawing board. But now, on the basis of the information we have, we think this is the right thing for the good people of this country.
Okay, please don't go, because the way you answered. One more. So, in the current CI, have you submitted it to Parliament? And then, are you still maintaining your position as Electoral Commission that the Ghana card will be the sole document for making entry into the voters' register for 2024 general elections?
Mr. Walker, let me say this. The current registration we are doing, we are still using CI 91 and CI 26 as amended.
I understand.
The current one, the requirement is the Ghana card, the Ghana passport, and if you don't have the Ghana card, the Ghana passport, either the Ghana card or the Ghana passport.
I'm talking about the draft CI, please.
For 2024, the Electoral Commission, when we went to Parliament in this year, the conclusion was that because the National Identification Authority has not been able to register enough people to also register as voters, the conclusion was that they want to see registration, a number of people registering with the Ghana card. And let me say, I think this week we had, was it last week, the NIA has started. So we believe that once the numbers are encouraging from the NIA, the EC will go back and lay the new document. But we think that one will strengthen the electoral process. The integrity we are talking about will be achieved with the Ghana card. Okay.
Now, when are you going to create a constituency for the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe?
Mr. Walker, that process has started. And as I speak now, if not that Parliament is on recess, the CI would have been laid. We've done all the legal documents to that effect. So I expect that when Parliament resumes by the end of the year, a new constituency will be created. And as I speak now, we have a district officer for Guan, for the Guan district. We have a district officer who is ready to register people from tomorrow. So it's something the EC has done its part. I know the bill is in Parliament. As soon as Parliament resumes, it will be late, and we are going to have the Guan constituency.
Dr. Bossman Asare, thank you very much.
Mr. Walker, thank you. But let me say that tomorrow we are beginning the registration. So all the eligible Ghanaians should make it a point to go to our offices and register.
Irrespective of where they live?
Irrespective of what?
Where they live?
What? No, just where you live, go to the district office where you live. So if you live in the Hohoi area, go to the Hohoi district office. If you live in the Mampo, in the Ashanti region, go to our office in Mampo. If you are in the Sikado, we have our district office in Sikado. If you are in Sekendi, you are in Takoradi, our district offices are there. So just go there. As long as you are 18, take your Ghana card, take your passport. If you don't have the Ghana card or the Ghana passport, just go with 2 guarantors who are already registered voters.
And if you live at overseas, Donkokrom?
If you live at Donkokrom, we have told our officers that as soon as you get to the district office, they should register you. So we expect that. That's why we said we know there are challenges, but the time and the strengthening of the process means that we have to do it at the district office, which will be in the interest of both the MPP and the NDC.
Please, I beg you.
Thank you. Dr. Bossman Asare is...
Thank you, my brother. It's been a while. All the best.
Don't worry, I'll pass by. Dr. Bossman Asare is Deputy Chair for Corporate Services of Ghana's Electoral Commission. Good to have him. Please. You had your
I was speaking. Roland, that's not fair. No. I was speaking, please.
Let him have, and then you come. Just note it down. Thank you for your patience. Please get an approval for me in Dagbani. So I think that it's conclusive. The Electoral Commission is doing what it has to do. It says.
I think that they ought to, but if they themselves recognize that there are some communities that are difficult to reach, then I will urge them that they should consider the principle that they applied in 2019, where they deployed some officers to go to those communities to assist them in the registration, because limiting it to their district offices in those communities that are known may pose a little bit of a challenge for our compatriots who live there. And so I would associate myself with any call for the EC to consider, of course, even when the process begins, they have the authority to review the centers, add a few more here and there, just so that they can make the access for those people who clearly are known to be residing in places that are difficult to reach access to. After all, we don't know which political party those people belong to. They may have benefited from the free SHS policy of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and may desire to vote for the MPP. And so you can never tell, even NDC people who, because of the clear role that His Excellency the Vice President has played, who may be desirous of voting for him in 2024. And so you cannot tell until somebody goes into the ballot box. Even there, you can't tell, okay? And so to suggest that somebody is skewing the process for the benefit of NPP or one party against the other, it really is neither here nor there. Is really red herring. Clearly demonstrates somebody who knows that their electoral fortunes is at risk. And so they will be wanting to throw dust in the eyes. So do you recall Professor White and all the things that he said about the electoral commissioner in the past? You saw today's headline, front page headline of newspaper, where he is saying that
he's on the front page of many of the newspapers, actually.
Okay.
Daily Dispatch.
EC did nothing against the NDC. He issued a statement. You have a copy of the statement.
He issued a statement.
Give it to Roland. Let him project it on the screen. But you see, you made a lot of allegations before Dr. Bosman Asare was introduced into the discussion. Why you think I don't have the right to deal with those allegations that you made? Please, look.
Make your point.
Look, this issue of fertilizer.
No, let's stick to this.
You want us to stick?
Oh, you want us? We can.
Don't go to the cocoa thing, please.
Cocoa. You sold them.
No. Let's. So based on the response, it means that the MPP is going to make sure that various people.
But I can tell you, yesterday we met as a region to strategize on how we work to get our constituency chairman and constituency officials to go around and galvanize our party people that we know who have 10, 18 people who are sympathetic to the MPP, to mobilize them to go and register. And look, you see, they sit in public and make it look as if they themselves are not mobilizing on the ground. You recall what they told the good people of this country when the registration of the Ghana card started? Don't. Yet, they were registering. These guys, they say one thing and do another. They are on the ground as we speak, mobilizing their base. Yet they can't sit on national TV and pretend as if to say, oh, we are not even going to register. But they will. And you will see in their constituencies where they think they are strong from tomorrow. Okay? So stop this kind of attitude and let's rally and support the Electoral Commission to execute their mandate for the benefit of all of us.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah. Roland, first and foremost, Dr. Bosman Asare is so incompetent that please. He can't even get my name right. Even when you corrected him, he still goes Mutaka.
He didn't correct.
Hold on, please.
He didn't correct.
Please, can I finish? The reason why
But he taught you, right?
Can I finish? The reason why I say he's so incompetent.
Did he teach you?
Hold on. The reason why I say
did he teach you?
Can I finish, Roland?
Mr. Mutala,
Roland,
don't
you
finish.
Just gave me a lot of
you said
time.
He's incompetent.
Roland,
I said, did he teach you?
He didn't teach me, but he has been the head of department in a department.
So he can't be incompetent.
That is why I'm shocked. He is so incompetent. You know, politics can turn people to all manner of things. You yourself,
like
you just pointed out to him his position and his stance. And he's deliberately refusing to answer the question. He's so incompetent. He was my 2-year senior. He was the head of department when I came to the department to do my PhD. In fact, as a matter of fact, they conducted the exams and the interview, and he still can't get my name right. I mean, so incompetent. For me, it's a symptom of how the Electoral Commission is run. And I have said in the past that an outstanding lecturer, but a disastrous EC deputy chair. He is saying that Jean Mensah is not an active MPP member. You, Dr. Bosman Asare, you're a TESCON member. You became patron for TESCON. on that principle, if you are now saying that Jean Mensa is fit to head the EC because she has no lineage to the NPP, then you are not fit to be there. You, Dr. Bossman Asare. And clearly, if you listen to him, clearly he's out of touch. Either he's out of touch or he doesn't even appreciate why
he said they want to maintain the integrity of the register.
And he made a fat lie. He said that 80% of the constituencies, people do not have to move distances. That's a fat lie. Everybody knows that we have more rural constituencies than urban constituencies. And these rural communities are so dispersed. Yet he comes on national television, look into our miserable faces, and lie in a manner that he did. Again, it is important to note one thing. He is also telling us that there was evidence that the guarantor system was abused. Whose responsibility is it to ensure people do not abuse it? It's an admission of failure. It is your responsibility as the Electoral Commission, clothed with the exclusive authority to determine how registration is done, including the guarantor system. Now, when he came, he said, oh, they informed the political parties. I wanted you to ask him. When they informed the political parties, what did they tell them? Now you allowed him to get away with that lie. That though they informed the political parties, you informed the political parties at IPAC. And the political parties, including the unprincipled MPP, all told you having the registration done at the district offices was not the best. So it is not about informing the political party.
But the fact that it's not the best,
please, can I?
That doesn't mean
I listen to you.
It cannot be done.
Please, I listen.
Please wrap up for me.
Now he said, I mean, these people. He said, if there is any
Ibrahim Mutala, please wrap up for me.
Yes. So Dr. Eric Bossman Asare, I've gotten your name right. Next time, be a little bit intelligent and appreciate. Please. That's
what they know how to do.
He deliberately. Oh, please.
You said he taught you, or he was your head of department when you were there.
No,
please. Let's keep this out.
I don't like this idea.
No. Which idea?
I don't like this.
You cannot say that he's not intelligent.
I'm not saying, oh, he's a doctor, a PhD holder. Okay, I withdraw. Next time, be smart enough to appreciate how my name is pronounced. Dr. Eric Bossman Asare. You still cannot even get my name right. Someone has been a member of parliament, you have engaged a student several times. You still, even when you said the name is Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, you still went ahead and said Mutaka. If there wasn't any MP called Honorable Mutaka, I wouldn't have had any problem with my lecturer and head of department. The fact that there is a member of parliament in this country called Honorable Mutaka, he's still getting it wrong. But you see, what is significant, and with all the discussions you have had with him and my honorable friend here, it is very clear that they are not interested in safeguarding the right, the integrity, and ensuring that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to participate in the electoral process. He says that the NDC is mobilizing our people. They are also mobilizing their people. How about those who neither belong to NDC and MPP? Don't they have the right to register? Are they not also Ghanaians? So I am speaking directly to the ordinary Ghanaian who has to move from one place to another to register.
Who did the same in 2019?
I'm speaking to you.
Who did the same in 2014?
These people simply do not care about you.
Who did the same in 2014?
The Electoral Commission does not care about you.
You did not care about them.
What they care about,
you did not care about them.
Perhaps they have enough money.
In 2014, you had a lot of money.
If they can stack millions of dollars in one minister's home.
In 2014, you have money, so it was okay, right?
Okay. I say if they can stack millions of dollars in one minister's home.
In 2014, you had money, so you didn't care.
Because
you could transport them.
Please put off their mic for me.
It was okay.
Amama Gold, please. Let me read some messages.
If they can start millions of dollars.
Bra Kweku said Roland Walker. He even said Paul Walker instead of Roland Walker. I don't think I heard that, Bra Kweku. Prince Anani Salasi says head of department and so what? Amama Gold.
We'll find millions of dollars.
Let's do that. Violence, Magold. MPP rise up with your flag bearer for a nationwide demo and stop the talk.
But you find money.
Now,
Bola minister.
We also, please. Caroline White says, Roland, allow Mutala to flow. Charles Echampon says, per the inconsistencies, please. Please,
You are
oh,
asking me.
please.
You are asking me.
Oh, two members of parliament. Two members of parliament. Please.
They like the title.
Please, the two of you.
You said Mama was.
Per the inconsistencies of Bosman Asari, the Ghana card is the sine qua non to register as a voter. All right.
And nobody else.
At the Flagstaff House, you criminally added $800 million to America.
Gloria Agbavito says rural communities are really going to suffer. Please.
What are you talking about?
Please. Now, I have this. The distance from Bole to Bamboy is 114 kilometers. Now, in 2019, limited registration, the centers were 1,500 with a targeted registration of 500,000, but ended up registering 1.2 million. In 2023, the Electoral Commission is targeting 1.35 new registers or registrants with 268 centers, which we know will increase. And then Read My Message. Read My Message has sent me. That's Alhaji Hamza Pig Farm. Truth be told, this arrogant posture exhibited by Madam Jim Mensah is very dangerous to our democracy. Now, I have this one also from Isahaku Tamale. I'm disappointed at the explanation given by Dr. Bosman Asari, who prefers to disenfranchise prospective voters to achieving a timeous and speedy registration exercise. Shams says, Dr. Bosman Asari's definition of the word integrity is nothing but a denial of access to the people. And then I have this one. Okay, so Amani says, I shall ask you two to talk about the state of the Tema motorway. So I'll do that very soon. Triddles. So this one is from Triddles. He says, now the Bar Association has turned into a chop bar association. Everyone is quietly comfortable with the Chief Justice's position on the current court case. And then Julius Agawa and Tahiru Aswan say, I want to appeal to the Electoral Commission and Bosman Asari to listen to all the parties concerned. And then Kizito from Tema says, is Bosman Asari a Ghanaian? Yes, he is. Has he read the Constitution very well? Does he know any Ghanaian who is 18 years and above is entitled to be registered? He has said that. Today, I love my team for allowing me to read messages. So, Danka writes from Talensi, EC should be prepared to receive more buses and more other forms of means of transport. Okay. And then, now I have this one. It says, is Mr. Japa saying that once there is a precedent with problems, it should become the norm, pure equalization. For Kafri from Ho says, tell Mr. Japa not to be making references like NDC did before it was voted out of power. That is the reason why they were voted out of power.
Is it a political
Maxwell Akpabli, Ayawaso East constituency.
I'm saying.
Since when have you become a spokesperson?
Was this the MPP Tescom patron and investor who is now the deputy EC chair? And then also I have Lawyer Eduji says, Bossman is a ping. And then Evans Dinko from Garu says, have you heard Bosman Asari answering your question why he has shifted from his previous position of human principle? I've read the question. And Ferguson says, it is not true that the 2019 period, same district level election registration took place. The EC initially published for that to happen. There was a lawsuit challenging that decision. Please let me read one more. This one has to come from Chief Mante, who said, Bosman did not answer any of your questions. And then, please, let me read this one from Blueprint. Blueprint says, good morning to Charles Bissell and Honorable Andre Japa Mensah. I really can't understand why the same NDC keeps vilifying the Electoral Commission. And then Nana Imedu of Jubilee House Communication, please don't go, says, fantastic show. Hey, this is the first time. Akosia Menu says, why are you tensioning?
There's a passion that brings us together. But beyond the thrill of the game, we know why you play.
Hey, come on!
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gaming can be addictive. 5bet. Together, we play.
Oktoberfest is here again. Ghana's premier 5-star hotel and your CMG hospitality facility of the year. Labadi Beach Hotel brings you another exciting edition of the biggest beer festival in the world, Oktoberfest 2023. Performing live is the Bayern Boys Band from Germany. Catch all the fun with German traditional food and beer at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel on the 6th and 7th of October 2023. For enquiries and reservations, please call 0302-772-501 or 0249-532-866. Oktoberfest Beer Festival. Come, let's party!
Stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the
Comfort, durability, finishing, quality. Choosing sofas and beds for your home, office or hotel couldn't be easier with an exclusive range of sofas and beds in various designs and colors from Latex Foam. There is so much choice whatever your budget. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
You'll ever taste.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Mom.
Hope you're having fun at Granny's.
Yeah, but Grandma doesn't have my favorite top chocolate spread. Hi, Mom. Mommy, please, I missed top chocolate spread on bread.
Tasty too. Made just for you and me. Choco, it's chocolate choco. It's chocolate choco. It's chocolate choco. Top choco. It's chocolate.
Surprise children.
Yay! It's chocolate choco.
Taste of chocolate. This advert is FDA approved.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Ha! Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom. Ntina ma wo ho idea ma me. Papa chesena nya asem ketewa. Na me kwan point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro. Mo meduro me fire no. Ene ma won kra me enu. Foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba. Head everything yourself.
Me ma me no adwojo eda ho a wontumi nante. And then call endpoint. O mama nura and then the white dear wetimi asori anante.
That's endpoint for you. Of Acrobato. Hello. Hey, Oshisho what chair? Okay. A free bra would the endpoint what dance. I'm a choir no. Me Johnson sama na nkoye and person my nyina and the magina sabema. Na me be fear for there. The hard nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Feel adrift as you transition into a new stage of your life. The future seems like a blank space until you discover the passion within. The canvas of the future is yours to paint. Welcome to a world of opportunities. Heritage Christian College, offering world-class university education, training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
Many with great voices have taken their chance on the biggest music reality show on screen.
Rap na kasa be my career.
Some stood out with their